Beep, 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 beep. A Radio Stat Zero broadcast. Well, hello again on this random draw stream on this random time. Welcome, Praetor7, to the Nest, and welcome, Marcus Gilliger. Welcome to the Nest. It's good to see you guys. It's been a while. Dang, it's been a while since I've been able to sit down and just work on this comic strip. So I thought, why not? Ooh, that's pencil. You don't need pencil. We're in the inking stage. Why not just sit and chat with you guys as I did this? Because it seems like these are the kind of streams that aren't happening enough. Just people just sitting and chatting with some art. I was getting out my Christmas reads this season here, and I don't know if you guys have any comic book Christmas reads that you try to read every year. I've got two of them. I've got a DC Universe Christmas. It's a compilation of. Do you remember the old DC comics? They used to do a Christmas special every single year, and so this is a compilation of some of those stories. You know, like Superman getting his cape tattered and trashed, and his mom made him a new one. Put it under the Christmas tree, stuff like that. So there's that one, and then Lee Bermejo did Batman Noel, which is like a retelling of the Christmas Carol, and I like that one a lot. So I liked it a whole lot more than what is it? There's the Azzarello Joker. I wasn't a huge fan of that one. I like Noel a lot, so I try to read that one every year. And it is getting close to me getting to sit down and read some Noel. But I don't know if you guys got some Christmas reads, let me know, because I'll be interested to hear if there's anything else. Marcus says I do a drawing stream on Saturdays on the Dawn's channel at 7 p.m. I don't know if I'm subscribed to the Dawn. I'm gonna have to go and find that so I can take a look at. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, or is that 7 p.m. Central, Marcus? Can't remember what time zone you're in. Probably Eastern. I thought you said you hung out with Andy Smith some, so that would be Eastern, I think. Cool. I do like a drawing stream, and when I can tune in. Prater7 says I found my copy of Batman Noel. I'm gonna get rid of it though. That's too bad. I like that book. I've got the hardcover version. So I do, and I'm a fan of the Eastern, yeah. I'm a fan of the Christmas Carol, anyways. I've got a few different versions of the movie. Kind of like, I'm not as crazy about collecting them as I used to be, but Dracula and the Christmas Carol were two books and movies that I collected a bunch of different versions of. I've got I got at least 4 versions, maybe 5 of Dracula. And then I got at least 6 or 7 of the Christmas Carol. Looking to thin out your collection. I can see that. You know, I got to do the same thing. I got to go through and kind of see what's what, see what I don't need. Although most of the stuff in my collection right now is pretty dang choice. I think I got some stuff in storage out in the garage that I could maybe thin out. But you know, the problem is sometimes you get in there and you say, okay, you know, I'm kind of bored with this. I don't really want it, putting it in storage. And then, you know, a few years later, you're looking through stuff and you go, holy crap, this story. Oh, I gotta read this again. And you get that kind of, but you know, that's not every story, I know. Marcus says, it's with Duck Bacon and James D. Lee. They tend towards Image, so we drew Deadpool last week and we'll draw Spawn. Shudder. this week. Okay, image creator. So you got like they're kind of up there with like Joe Sontag. Well, Sontag, I suppose he is image, I suppose, but it always seemed like he kind of tended towards the top cow part of image. Like the Silvestri. He likes. And what did he? Was it Liefeld he liked too? Definitely, I'm sure Spawn and stuff. He's looked at some of that, but I mean, every time I go in there and look, he's having a look at something from Top Cow, which I have to confess, I read the least of when I was looking through. So we would get when I was little, every once in a while for a present, I would get a blind box of comic books. Like a $25 short box, just random comic books, probably stuff the store had too dang much of, and they were getting rid of. So you saw a lot of image books in there. You saw quite a few Valiant. Some of the like the old school like independent stuff. Like your Black Man Publishing things, black and white. Amanda, welcome. That was good to see. And then of course like some 90s X-Men and Batman stuff that they, like random issues of some event that they had going on there. So I did see quite a bit of image that way, but there was very little Top Cow in there. It was always a lot of Youngblood. Let's see, a lot of Youngblood, a lot of very little Spawn. See Youngblood, like Shadowhawk. What else was there? Anyways, the super overprinted stuff. LE, welcome to the nest. It's good to see you. Amanda Sestado just shared Batman Noel earlier. Didn't ever knew such a thing existed. Yeah, it was. Well, it's a few years ago now that it was released. Yeah, I do like that one with Batman being Scrooge, and you have like dead Robin in the place of Jacob Marley, and who is it? Catwoman is the Ghost of Christmas Past, Superman present, and the Joker Ghost of Christmas future, basically. And it's all like there's a crime that's actually going on, and the whole time a dad is telling his son the Christmas Carol in his own way. He's like a kind of a criminally, not criminal, but like a like a New Yorker kind of accent you can picture in your head. Marcus says, I'm a little older and I'm much more old school. Well, Marcus, I hate to tell you, yeah, Superman's like the kindly, like current, he's like the Ghost of Christmas Present stand-in, kind of talking to, because Bruce is kind of sick, he's got like pneumonia, and he's trying like, you want me to get you to a hospital? He's like, no, I'm working, get out of here. It's pretty good. I like it. You've got like I said, there's the story being told, and then there's the Batman story being told at the same time, and they kind of cross sort of a thing. Mark says, I have to say to draw a pretty good Deadpool versus Juggernaut. Nice. What was I saying? Oh yeah, besides Batman, yeah, I never, excuse me, I never really read a lot of Top Cow because it was almost never in those boxes. Oh my gosh, Youngblood, Liefeld stuff was in there the most. Hey, Michael Bancroft, welcome to the nest. It's always good to see you. And there's like copies of like, do you remember Deathmate? That's when like, Image, the rest, all the Images like guys like did like a big shakeup, and they had a crossover with Valiant, which is funny because the Valiant guys were on time and the Image guys were like super late. I think Liefeld finished his like 2 or 3 years late, and they had to actually go to his house and wait for him to finish the pages. Like, I'm not leaving until you give me those pages. And I've got all of those somewhere, I think. Amanda, the artist is Lee Bermejo. Let me get you some of his art. Second here. I was like sharing art. We'll just All right. Let me get a incognito tab so I don't have to log out of anything. See, Lee Bermejo art. All right, let's look at a little bit of this for Amanda here. So here we go. So here's a little of his art. Let's see here. Let's open this one in a new tab. Let's open. Here's a Superman. It's like a weird cross between realistic and sort of stylized. I feel like they kind of did a little bit of a Pattinson Batman based on this. A little bit. I can see it. Let's see here. What else we got? Here's a... I'm not sure who that is. But anyways, let's see here. So, let me see the image. Yeah, so this is... And his interiors look very much like his pages. Like, he does, like, cover-worthy art all through his entire... I think that's a sketch one. All through his entire book. It's like... It looks like a cover. Let's see. Yeah, I think that is... You know what? You might be right. Henry Beavis, welcome to Nest. I think that is Johnny Cash. And then there's like a devil. Must be like in reference to a song or something. But yeah, he does a lot of good work. Bermejo does. So he's done... Well, let's get out of that now. There, he's done... let's see some black and white. This is the black and white for the Batman Noel cover. Without the colors. So, you know, some would probably say, hey, you know, it's sad, like with AI, we're going to get to a point, I think, where somebody draws like this and people are just going to automatically believe it's AI. Like, we'll forget that humans could actually... Jav, welcome to the Nest. Humans could actually do something like this in the future. I feel like that's where we're headed. Let's see. Is anything else good from Mr. Bermejo? Here's his Joker. You can take a look at that. He did the Joker book with Brian Azzarello. So Amanda really likes his work. Well, I'm glad. Need to remember him. I'll share it in the chat room there. You can look him up. Here's his Luthor. There's another Joker Luthor. Yeah. So that's the Batman Noel artist. Pretty good book. I have to say I like it. His Catwoman was always a little bit weird because he's got like realistic goggles on her, and it just looks kind of odd with these huge flippin' goggles. But otherwise, yeah, it's so if you do look into his Joker book, it's really violent. Vanessa, like Amanda, like really violent, but the Noel one's not as bad. Here's a page from Noel, black and white, where Superman's taking a look at Batman's insides. Some popping out of the panels and things like that. Yeah, it's real clean art. Opposite of mine, I think. Gonna have to buy those covers. He says, "Hey, K Manifesto, welcome to the Nest. It's good to see you. The Joker cover is an homage to that famous Catwoman cover, right?" Amanda's wondering where the red is, K. Is it like, are we in a period of mourning for something? Dark K. He's Dark K. Nega K. Is he just Batman and Joker? Though he's done a few other things, but I think he's probably most known for his Batman work. He did in Wednesday Comics. He did a Superman story. He's got some other stuff too, but the most famous stuff he's done, I think, is Joker and then Batman Noel. Johnny, welcome to the Nest. Says I know nothing. He's probably right. I'm making all this crap up. You guys, I don't even know who Lee Bermejo is, or if that's even the way it's printed. It could be Lee Bermejo. That's how they probably say it. Like super Southern guys, like Lee Bermejo. That's him. I'd know him anywhere. All right. There we go. I'm back. I had the little circle of that. You know, that's if I put my face on here, it would probably like just the video would probably crash my internet. Bancroft says if I pronounce artist name wrong, I don't want to be right. Oh shoot. But I don't know. Do you guys reread comics? Do you have like traditional comics that you read for like certain things? Like say for example, you know, you might read like a Christmas thing or like something every summer. I know some people. I want to say Scotty Young. I read somewhere that he actually reads Calvin and Hobbes every year. You know, he pulls out the big deluxe edition and he reads Calvin and Hobbes every year. So some people like they have these like traditions as far as books go because they're so good. Bancroft is the world's leading expert on Italian names. He says spaghetti Italians. That's right. I don't have a lot of traditional comics that I read every single year, but during Christmas time, the two the DC Universe one and the Noel are both certainly ones that I read. When I'm not working on them comics for myself, that is. Like this one. K Manifesto says, I reread Peanuts and Calvin and Hobbes throughout the year. Oh, I was going to say, you reread Peanuts every year? That's like, what, 50 years of comics you cram in? You probably read nothing else. But that's cool. I've said it before on here. I never really read Peanuts as a kid. I always found it boring. But now as an adult, it's brilliant. But it's also kind of depressing. My wife... she actually at one point she drew like a conclusion that I was like Charlie Brown incarnate, the way I walk, sometimes my head down and every single panel. Peanuts is timeless. It's true. I didn't get it when I was a kid. I guess I was more into Calvin and Hobbes and when I was really little. Of course, Garfield. What kid didn't? Henry Bemis says, I read Dune and 5 Game of Thrones books almost every year. As far as comics, I usually read Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns once a year. Dark Knight Returns, I got a love-hate relationship with that one. I mean, it changed comics so radically, but at the same time, like it was one of the first comics I remember really looking at because the splash pages. I didn't understand what I was reading. I remember seeing it before I could even read. Johnny says I do that with some inappropriate Japanese books. Gosh, if I had to pick some other stuff, Liberty Meadows. I probably read a lot of Calvin and Hobbes. Liberty Meadows every year. I try to read from Frank Cho. I like. Gosh, what else? Is there anything else? I'm looking at my shelf here, and I can't see anything. Oh, New Frontier. I read every year. Love that book. And I don't know that I have any other annual reads past those. I got to add a couple. I've been getting into New Gods lately. Just, I don't know. It's something about it just hits the spot. You know what I mean? Like both the old ones from Kirby and the Walt Simonson Orions and the Cosmic Odyssey from Starlin and Mignola. Those, oh my gosh, he created such an amazing world. I didn't realize just how much he did for DC, until like looking in. K Manifesto says I've been collecting complete Peanuts collection 1 through 7 so far. Isn't there like 25 or 30 of those things? My goodness, that's a lot of money. It's one of those things you would have wanted to be getting piece by piece while it was coming out. Bemis says there's a Love and Rockets story art called The Death of Speedy I read once a year. Okay, I know Love and Rockets. That's who's the artist on that? It's help me out here. Love and Rockets is Hernandez? Jamie Hernandez. Or Jamie or Jaime? Hernandez. Yeah, that's right. Poor Manifestos. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Got a sad face because he knows his wallet's going to be hurting. Marcus says, I love the New Gods. Big Kirby guy. Yeah, I was looking through like just, like some of his stuff, and it's like he's got Commandy, he's got the New Gods, he's got the Challengers of the Unknown. I'm pretty sure that was him. He's got Etrigan. He's got I want to say there was more he did, but Omac. Like, he did a lot, and almost none of it was appreciated until later on. Hey, Citizen Ronan, welcome to Ness. He says that's a proper mustache. It is, you know. And none of that stuff was, you know, everybody was so concerned with this Marvel stuff. Well, I think actually the Challengers was before Marvel, because he took that repackaged it and made Fantastic Four, or helped with it at least. But Commandy, basically, what a boy in like a Planet of the Apes style thing, post-apocalyptics. That's great stuff, and it went, I think, probably longer than any of his other stuff, right? Because you had like 18 issues for Mr. Miracle around there. You had 11, I think, for New Gods, something like that. Well, only 9 for Forever People. I want to say that Etrigan didn't go much further than that too, but I want to say Commandy must have went into the 60s. It's the most rootin' tootin' mustache. Now that you say something like that, it almost reminds me of Yosemite Sam. Henry Bemis says Amy Hernandez grew up reading Archie comics, so his women show a real Bob Montana, Dan DiCarlo influence. You know, I never really looked into Love and Rockets. I've seen like box sets for it. You know, I love a good box set. I do. Nothing is more exciting to me than like complete collection. You know, especially in a slipcase. That's my favorite. I mean, and they're making more and more of them as they reprint these books in like the paper that, you know, you can really thin paper that. I saw Love and Rockets complete. There's a few of them that I thought about, but I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger. Citizen Rona says he has some original Commandy issues. Loved it as a kid. I can see. I mean, as a kid, that sounds like just the best. I never, you know, I didn't know about Commandy until Wednesday Comics came out. That Ryan Sook drawn story was the first time I ever heard of it. And boy, oh boy, what an introduction. Sook, he can draw Commandies. And he's one of the few, besides Kenneth Rocafort, he's one of the few guys I think I've seen that doesn't make Commandy look like a 27-year-old dude, like super buff and you know, like big, ripped. He draws him like a kid, the last boy on Earth. Not last man on Earth, the last boy on Earth. 59 issues. Kilgore says, yes. And I don't think all of them are in, they have collected all of them. I've got the 2 volumes, which I think are like at least 40 something issues. I don't know. But I think it was more appreciated than some of his other stuff. Now, later on in that funny, they hardly use Commandy anymore, unless maybe, you know, they need to like keep his copyright over, but they use New Gods all over the place. Mr. Miracle, remember when they pulled him into Justice League for the Justice League Giffen stuff, International? That was great. I love they fit so well, like Barda and Orion and Scott Free, Oberon, all fit so well in that world. With you know, like Guy Gardner and Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. Those are some omnibuses that I have indeed thought about collecting, but you know, I try to just not spend all of my monies on reprints. You know, I want to, but I don't. Although we are living in a reprint like golden age. Some amazing books coming out for like next to nothing as far as like full runs. Like I like to pay attention to epic collections, the deluxe editions, the compendiums, some omnibuses, but holy crap, are they expensive. That is when I'm not finding a good crowdfunder to root for. And I hate to say it, that lately it's just there hasn't been a lot of that's been really interesting to me lately. I I don't know what it is. But I've been kind of falling back on older titles. I've been drawing more. I've been, researching more and stuff, and working on my own. I think that's part of the reason, I don't have a ton of time for entertainment when I'm entertaining myself drawing. It doesn't have as much to do with the fighting, although that doesn't help. But I like to think that this channel is sort of a haven away from that kind of stuff. And K Manifesto says Command D. Rona says you just keep you're yapping to yourself, bird. Wow. You'll get your chance to have your say at the end of a rope. Hot dang. I suppose that's what he's saying. But no, he's not saying that. This here is a bona fide idiot. Oh, man. Yeah, I haven't been able to sit and work on this comic strip for a little while, because I like to be able to sit down and really get into it, but I haven't had that time. So thanks for showing up and sitting here and working on this with me. Michael Banker says, I've been reading Small Press. If Image counts as Small Press, just waiting for Groken 3. I think newer Image does. I mean, obviously the 90s, they printed so dang many that they made him worthless, but like newer Image, I can't imagine. Oh, that was the mustache guy. Yeah. I can't imagine that, the newer stuff sells like crazy amounts. I mean, even Ghost Machine, I don't know what the numbers are, but let's see here. Ghost of Nessa, welcome to Nessa. Don't know if you've been here before. Oh, poor Nessa. We miss Vanessa around here. Don't lie to us. You're doing squats on your total gym. I might be. I got one. I got a total gym. Those ones with like the pulley system, because I had one when I was a kid. I really like those, and they do work for me. I do manage to get results with those things, even though it's like a gimmick machine, right? My dog decides he really likes going on rides, so when I'm sitting there trying to do squats on those things, he jumps up and he just kind of sits on me and waits to go up and down. Hammer Beavis says, I saved so much not backing as much crowdfunding that I've been able to pick up some pricey Silver Age. Just picked up the first appearance of Black Widow. Oh, you going like real collecting. Nice. That's something that like during 2020, the Disney, when it was like Disney, Marvel, all that stuff, I gotta thank them. They did save me a ton of money. And oh yeah, okay. Well, sorry. I kind of figured that out as soon as she said what she said. Can't name yourself the ghost if it's you. That's crazy. Speaking of crazy, you guys see the trailer for that new Nosferatu movie? I'm thinking about going to see it, and I haven't gone to the theaters in a long time. With Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu. I think he's one of the last like character actor guys that disappear behind makeup and be somebody else. Like I don't know too many more like that aren't like, like this is my personality. I am I don't like to assume, Amanda. This is the internet. Anybody could be anybody. For all I know, Ghost of Vanessa is a 42-year-old male. K Manifesto says, looking forward to Nosferatu. I enjoyed The Northman. I haven't seen The Northman. I haven't seen any of that guy's stuff. You tattle yourself with backroom info. I don't know. They knew that. Citizen Rona, I won't support the director. He directed The Witch, an awful movie. I haven't seen that one either. I listened to a review. You guys know that Jeremy Johns, the guy that everyone thought Phil Diaz was that like Ripa shared like a picture of him or something. It was Jeremy Johns. But I haven't seen any of his movies. There's The Witch, The Northman, The Something Else, and then Nosferatu. So I'm going to give this one a try because I'm a fan of the property. And Jeremy Johns was talking about like how they do little tricks like to make him seem scarier. They put his voice above all of the rest of the sound editing, so he's a bit more booming, and they keep him in shadows the first half because you always think like Why in the world would oh, The Lighthouse, you're right. Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. But why would this dude trust and talk to this guy that looks like a rat? Well, if he's in kind of like the shadows and everything like that, I guess it makes a little bit more sense. But from what I understand, he's just terrified of, Citizen Runner says, I grew up in what is this? So I know about Puritans. The Witch to me is anti-Puritan, anti-Christian garbage. Yeah, I didn't have a look at that one. It didn't really interest me a whole lot, But this one looks good. Henry Bemis says, I just watched a documentary series on Roger Corman. It was pretty decent. Corman he's a funny dude. You've got like the weird stuff that he shot in like 2 days, like Little Shop of Horrors. And then you've got some of those like really gothic, Edgar Allan Poe type movies that he did that looked really beautiful. The guy could turn a dollar. He put every single dollar on stage. And it shows. He's one of those ones that's like he's great for a 2 a.m. movie. K Manifesto says, I recently watched the 20s version of Nosferatu. Still holds up. I watched that a few months ago. I have the Kino Blu-ray where they went and they cleaned all of it up. It's beautiful, and they actually put in like the right dyes and stuff too. So when it's at night, it's dyed blue. So the day for night stuff, they're gonna shoot in the daytime and everything, but they just dyed it blue and it looked like night. It was much better than the public domain one that I had. Man, this is 2020 isn't that long ago, Kay. My gosh, I can't believe that it is that movie is over 100 years old. My gosh, it's crazy to think. Like now we are getting into like where movies are 100 years old. Ghost Nessa says, I watched The North. It was beautifully shot, great compositions, but it was a weird movie. I kind of feel like that's going to be Nosferatu too. The thing that I liked in the trailer was they had like the city and the shadow of his hand was moving over the city. It was very like German expressionism. You haven't seen that kind of those kind of things in movies for a long time. So I think I'm there to see the imagery. And Marcus says, I feel like I'm over 100 years old. You and me both. I made the mistake. My parents maybe made the mistake of showing me all these black and white movies when I was a kid. So anybody else my age would be like, that's stupid. That's terrible, and they wouldn't watch them. So here I am watching this stuff all alone, and I feel like much older than all the other people around me. And like I've said before, I am turning 40 next year. So I'm eventually going to move into how old I feel. Might take a little while, but that's okay. I can wait. I was just thinking about the other day. I think I posted about it. It's like you feel old now. Just enjoy it, because when you're 60 and you're 70, you're gonna look back at 40 and 50 as like, wow, I was a young man. I had so much energy. I didn't have these injuries that I got. Ellie says black and white movies are great. I absolutely agree. Some of my favorite movies are black and white. K Manifesto says, no doubt, edges make a unique experience. Marcus says he's a year younger than Lopresti. Well, you know what, though? Lopresti, like I'm sure yourself, is young at heart. So, as long as you got that, I think you're going to be okay. I'm rooting for you, Marcus. Well, my dog's out there, like, whining. He's whining at the door, and I put a comic box in the middle of it so he can't come in. I said, no, you can't come in and bother me during this stream. And he's bugged by it. He likes to come in and just, own my office. He has a bed in here. And he just comes in and does what he pleases, but not right now. Henry Beamer says, I remember as a kid when they celebrated the 50th anniversary of Superman. Last year was the 85th. Yeah. Right? Marcus Killer says, I have hair, though. And thank you. No matter what, you always got that, right? Kind of reminds me of this one joke from this comedian. He said, these magazines, it's like, what's in, what's hot. It's pretty much just what's in, hair and money. And the less you have of one, the more you better have of the other. There's some truth to that. And Citizen Rona says we're all 42 years old. I give you a salute. You can't see me on camera. I'm saluting you right now. And K Manifesto says, anyone want to buy us some Haktua Bitcoin? Absolutely not. I heard what happened to that mess, and I'm glad I don't trade in any of that stuff, especially memes. Why would you do that? Why would you put a bunch of money in on a freaking meme, especially from a girl that is famous for, what she's famous for? 44 Club here, says Bancroft. I'll catch up to you. Well, no, I won't catch up to you one day. One day I'll be there. Yeah, I'll catch up to you, Bancroft, in age. I don't know how I'll do it, but I'm going to do it. How long have we been going? 36 minutes. Doesn't it seem like 10 minutes? Bird is younger than you old. He probably feels younger than me. I bet he does. The youngest Gen Xers turned 44 this year. Yeah. Kind of feel like not of my generation. Going back to what I said before about sitting there watching all kinds of older stuff. It's like I grew up in a different time. We always got, when we were kids, we always got those, it was like 6 hours of Three Stooges on a VHS tape, or 3 hours of Three Stooges, or whatever. Old cartoons, some of them that are banned now. We'd watch a lot of that. Bancroft says they try to call me a millennial, not having it. Nobody, you shouldn't have to have it, man. You're not a boomer, so that's the important part, because that is now it's horrible. I guess, as far as kids say, it's Bima says you're on the cusp, but still Generation X. I'm 1 year too late to be a boomer. There you go, Marcus. Just get out of there. Oh, so Aaron's the boomer. Is that what you're saying? You never know. K Manifesto says, I grew up on Three Stooges. All the episodes are on YouTube. I've got the complete box set. I think there's a couple of movies that aren't in there, but I've got most of it, all the way up to you got like Curly Joe. You got Shemp. I like you know what? I think if you watch them on like all at once, which I don't know that the Three Stooges are. They are meant to watch all at once, because they do use a lot of the same gags and stuff over and over and over again. I think Shemp his output has probably aged the best, because he did a lot of different stuff. Curly had like 4 or 5. He was always really funny, but he had 4 or 5 catchphrases he'd use every single time. I'm sure the audience would cheer at the time, but Shemp was, like a successful actor. He did all kinds of different stuff. So I think as I'm older, I really like watching his Shemp stuff. But when I was a kid, 100% Curly. Bancroft says Maverick was a great black and white show. I loved Maverick when I was a kid. When James Garner did like Support Your Local Gunfighter and Local Sheriff, very similar to Maverick. Those were great Western comedies. Citizen Rona says, I was surprised with how millennials are obsessed with the 90s. It's like a lot of us boomers are obsessed with the 60s. I think there's something awesome in every single decade. My comics, my movies, my books, they all have stuff. I get stuff from like the 20s, 30s, all the way up to now. There's great stuff. But nowadays, I think now, especially since 2015, 2020, it just seems like they're just kind of recycling and remixing the last 100 years. So it's a little easier to just dip out and go discover all these new things. Kay says, I appreciate Shemp better now than when I did when I was a kid. I agree 100%. We can all agree Joe Dorita sucked. Oh, he was there for like the stage stuff. He was helping Mo to keep the Stooges alive. I got to give him something for that. I mean, he was probably 5th best. I remember being a kid growing up with the cartoons, and they were like those cheap cartoons, and I think Joe Besser was the is it Joe Besser? Curly Joe? Yeah, he was the one for the cartoons. Jeff says, I'm not accepting millennial label trends thanks to several years before the internet things swapped over to Europe, top of that super rural. Yeah. I grew up just when the internet was starting. I was in like, 4th, 5th grade when they were bringing this in to like show us and that was when the internet was like fan pages, the kind with like the tiled wallpaper and like the lime green Comic Sans, zany font and stuff. It wasn't like it is now. Take that back. It was Joe Besser. Yeah. Shemp was the genius behind the Stooges. Shemp was awesome. Gen Z dressed like how we did in the 90s. Everything old is new again. It's true. Are you guys like would you say Stooges are the best, or are you guys like Marx Brothers, Abbott and Costello? I got a soft spot in my heart for Abbott and Costello. Marx Brothers were, like they had like a few really good movies, and then after they made that executive really angry, took all their budgets away. Their movies just kind of like, especially after a little while, they were making movies just to kind of help with Chico's gambling habits, and he was getting Alzheimer's and stuff, so they were making money just to kind of keep him going and doing movies. They kind of fell apart a little. You could tell Groucho didn't want to do them. Oh, Laurel and Hardy, yeah, was really great too. Both silent and not so much. Stooges are S tier, Dale says. If I didn't say hi to you, welcome to the nest. Abbott and Costello's the best, says Ellie. Marx Brothers next. Three Stooges is the third. Tamagotchi Graveyard. Not even sure what that is. Yeah, I think I certainly, Stooges were the first ones that I was exposed to. And then after that, Abbott and Costello through like Meet the Monsters and stuff like that. And then Marx Brothers a little later in life. They're all good. Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin were choice comedians and geniuses. I didn't get into Charlie Chaplin until I think I graduated. After I graduated high school, I found like this like public domain DVD of his shorts, like his public domain ones. And then I didn't really start watching the movies until I started working on those short stories for Charlie. I figured, well, I should probably get some Blu-rays and see what these are all about. Did you ever try and poke your brother in the eyes, Stat? Not that I know of. No. Do kids even watch Three Stooges nowadays? I would hope so. I doubt it. I was in a store at one point and I saw, I think Calvin and Hobbes is even starting to lose a little bit of its draw, because like parents aren't pushing it as much anymore. I mean, sure, they're still being sold, but people aren't reading as much, so these things are starting to get lost. I think I remember being at work and I had this younger kid there working there, and we got into a talk about movies, and he was asking, this is a few years ago, mind you, he was asking me who John Wayne was. So I think a lot of these older movies are starting to get lost, because a lot of kids and younger people that I talk to, they think anything before, some of them before 2000 and some of them before 2010, anything before those are too old to watch. I can't believe it. Like, you try to tell them, no, this is where the really good stuff is. This is where the acting is. This is where the stories are. But many of them, movies are visual. So if they don't have the good, like CGI or whatever like that, if it's, it's like stop motion or something, then it's just not for them. And that breaks my heart. Three Stooges on Me TV on the weekends. And Citizen Ronald loved the Little Rascals. I used to have a VHS of those too, a whole bunch of stuff. I think I have a DVD with like some public domain stuff now. Michael Bancroft says, no, kids these days have no idea about any WB cartoon character, not one of them. Watterson never merchandised Calvin and Hobbes. May have something to do with his popularity. Yeah, he never burnt that candle too far, but Dale Ace, streaming ruined it all. I think streaming and social media to a point. Over here, there are free channels, those cartoons, yeah. Social media, I think changed the game a lot. And so streaming for sure. Everybody thinking that they could actually just get everything all at once, when really, no, not really. If they want to take it off the internet, they can certainly take it off the internet. I don't think kids watch free to air anymore. You know why? Because commercials. Dr. Mask, welcome to the nest. K Manifesto sharing a Three Stooges link. So if you haven't seen the Three Stooges in a while, go ahead and take a look. Calvin and Hobbes will be like Crazy Cat in 30 years, probably, or even Pogo. A lot of people don't know Pogo either, and I think that's probably what influenced Watterson. You know, it's the saddest thing in the world that, you know, like most of these people are they're kind of bound to get forgotten. Just like I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about I was saying, you know, you can get really popular and nobody could absolutely know your name as an artist. And we were talking, and you know, I came to the example of the Coca-Cola Santa, you know, done by Haddon Sundblom. And nobody, you know, like nobody that I talked to could tell me who painted that character, but everyone could identify that that's the Coca-Cola Santa. I find that kind of sad. You know, these people, they could be wearing, you know, like a Jim Lee Wolverine, just think it's cool, but never actually look to see who did that, or you know, even give a crap about what else the person has done. It's just, this is a cool image for a t-shirt, and that's that. And that's how things die. You know, like the curiosity's not there. You see somebody's really great art, and they just say that's great. I like that image, but then they don't really dig in more. That's why I think, you know, with some of these, let's see, I got a couple of. I was like Beetle Bailey, kind of corny, but my Beetle Bailey was my grandfather's favorite comic strip. He loved it. Every single day, every single Sunday, that was the first thing he'd get to before he started to read what was going on in the world. He loved Beetle Bailey. Wizard of Id, Tumbleweed, Tank McNamara, the list goes on. My grandpa, he did, like, you know, he grew up reading the Sunday funnies. Even as a kid, you know, he'd flip through and he'd read. I think he liked Hagar the Horrible. He liked Beetle Bailey was his favorite. Calvin Hobbes, of course, when it was going, but I think those two are the ones that stuck out as his favorite, and Peanuts, of course. And it's true, a lot of people just aren't intellectually curious, and it's, you know, that's why I think, I hate to say it, but some of these guys that are obsessed with their legacy, you know, unless they get some sort of especially around here in the CG and the stuff like that, once they're done, whether they quit their YouTube channel or they pass away, God forbid, you know, that's kind of it. They're not going to get their stuff reprinted unless they score some kind of a deal, unless their family like takes it up. But then there's really no other new stuff. You know, it's just kind of like, you can maybe reprinting collections. Like, let's take Graham Nolan, for example, you know, because he's getting a bunch of stuff out, or Aaron, or shoot, even Ethan, like unless they feel like licensing, his family feels like licensing or reprinting in any way, you know, that's it. The property will effectively be dead. It's not too much different than like when a CEO passes away and like the company takes a huge stock drop until maybe they see somebody that's capable. A lot of these properties are kind of just going to go away, I think, and you know, it's really sad, but a lot of these pros will, if the companies don't completely, you know, bury them, a lot of them are going to be known for their pro work. What does intellectually mean, Henry? This is K Manifesto. Bancroft says the Frazetta girls are doing well to keep their father's legacy in sight. Well, see, the thing is, painters, I think, are different, Bancroft. painters, you can have like Norman Rockwell stuff is still being put out today, or different background production stuff for Disney or things like that. They can package that. But I mean, like comic books, sometimes I feel like, and this is a little bit of a depressing thought, so please forgive me. Sometimes I feel like we are like silent film actors, just too dang stubborn to give up and, feel like the world is moving on to talkies. We keep on doing like Charlie Chaplin. He went into what the 50s or the 60s doing silent movies because he just was like, I'm a silent movie actor. This is what I do. Or no, it wasn't the 50s. It was like, oh man, what was the Great Dictator? Everything before that. But he was a hardcore holdout. And sometimes I wonder if comics aren't going that same way. Like it's like a zombie hobby. It keeps on moving, but there's not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of life driving it. It's just like reputations and nostalgia feeling from the past that's driving it. And I hope I'm wrong, but you just, as far as mainstream people, which like it or not, you need to keep it going and keep it, people talking. Something like Dogman, that's got a big audience. It's going to get smaller and smaller until it's like a niche of a niche of a niche, which is just basically like hobbies and talk in small back rooms. And maybe you could score like a big boom and people want to see it, and maybe it'll come back. But I think about silent movies, and remember The Artist? Do you remember that movie that won the Oscars and everybody said it was so great? And it was a really good movie. It did not spark a silent movie trend, although there's so much you could do with silent movies these days. It was just like, oh wow, yeah, look at that was great, and then it was gone. Let's see what we got here. Legit one of the most knowledgeable chats around. I like this chat. I really like this chat. I'll tell you that much, Venus. I think it's hard to have a legacy where you were known for being another artist who drew another character. It's true. If you're prolific enough, though, they can repackage your stuff. Like take, where they take, the Tales from the Crypt stuff, is a good example. Like, Fantagraphs should take whole collections of just stories from certain artists and put those out, so they're not forgotten. But sometimes if you don't have a huge output, they might not reprint it if it's not a big thing, and then you might just, maybe you'll get lucky and get in a collection somewhere. But unless you transcend the medium, that's true. Sequential art will outlive cinema. I mean, I don't think it's going away. I think that in terms of popularity, being lucrative, it's certainly a lot harder to get going than just like a cover artist or somebody that does images that you can market any which way, shape, or form. Like the Frazetta stuff, those paintings, you can put them, you can sell prints, you can sell shirts with the stuff on there, you can sell books with all those images on there. It's very, very easy to sell a painter's work. It's a little tougher sometimes to sell a comic book. I don't know why. Michael Bancroft says TMNT was very close to disappearing. That's true. Bancroft needs to get his book noticed in France and Europe. Get Mel cracking on that translation. The Fantagraphics catalog always has something interesting. I like Fantagraphics. They do have a lot. Jim Cox, welcome to the nest. He says guitars. Someone says love guitars. Then he says, you nerds. Welcome, buddy. It's always good to see you. He reminds me of the Revenge of the Nerds with the one, big bully dude that like kind of eventually joined him, and he's just like, nerds. He gets all angry at the thought of it. Unfortunately, he passed away. Tomorrow Publishing is never heard of Tomorrow Publishing. I'll have to look at that. Not persuasive enough. As far as Mel declining, she's not going to do it. She's not going to do it. Remember the joke, like maybe if he got her a new lawnmower. Wonder, is she still mowing that lawn? Michael, or did you take up those duties to mow that lawn? Because that is, of course, a long-running joke in his intro. With that great song, Battle Without Honor or Humility. I love that song. Lots of talking in the chat. 14 people in. Welcome to the nest, all of you. Even if you're lurking, even if you're just listening and you're just like, you know what? I want to hear a fast-talking guy talk without any kind of crazy fighting. Oh my gosh, she hasn't mowed the backyard in weeks. It's outrageous. Maybe she's trying to make like a sweet maze. You know, like the grass gets really high and then she can cut a cool maze for the kids, right? Is that an idea? Oh, Tomorrow's. They have a great multi-volume set of books about history of comics. Oh, derelict of duty. I'm sure she's got other things she's worrying about. What's she doing? Mel seems like I don't know her very well, but she seems like a good lady. From what I've seen and heard on your shows, a maze full of Australia's deadliest creatures. Yeah, but then they realize they're at Bancroft's shed, and they're just like, no, not this one. That was my bad Australian. Maze full. Thank you, Kay. He put the website in there. If you guys are looking to take a look at that. She's putting up a Christmas tree at the moment. Nice. We don't really put our Christmas tree up because I think our dog would probably try to destroy it. He'd get really excited about it, and that would just be it. So sometimes we'll put up a little tiny tree with like battery operated lights and everything like that. That Australian sounded a bit like English. Well, where do you think they came from, Jim Cox? And you're in the cottage. For shame. There's a white porch spider with an egg sac next to my cottage door at the moment. What are you going to do about it? Nothing? Just let him live there? Live and let live? Maybe it's like a Charlotte's Web situation. You can go out there and talk to the spider, and the spider's like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I was reading a book the other day, and it sucked. Like, oh, yeah. Cool. Oh, wow, the Australian accent was better than... I wasn't really trying super hard, and I'm not going to. Better than American accent. I haven't heard Bancroft's American accent. Next time he streams, I'm going to have to come in there and listen. I've heard his Italian accent, and that's just great. Maybe the egg will explode as you open the door. Yeah, it's one of those spiders. What are those things that bouncing Betty spiders, right? Because you got like those the trip mines that explode, like shoot shrapnel everywhere. Now imagine if a spider had an egg sac like that, right? You trip a little like thing, and it just the egg sac explodes all over whoever's getting it. That's a cool idea. My dog chewed up through a cable yesterday. Thank God neighbors and electrician could easily fix it. I agree. Johnny Rando, welcome to the nest. Just picked up the new Foo Action hardcover from Jamie Hewlett. Haven't opened it yet. Ooh, I think I know Jamie Hewlett's stuff. Help me. Coming from the web. Oh, shoot. That's one of those things where it's like, you always think like, I would never go there. It sounds terrible. Like Australia, it's, like all these deadly things. And I'm sure if you've lived with it, you're totally cool. I remember hearing people in Florida, obviously like you live in Florida, and yeah, that's right. That's why it sounded familiar. Hewlett did Tank Girl. Yeah. And the Gorillas stuff. That stuff too. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. I remember hearing some Floridians talking about like alligators or crocodiles and stuff. Sometimes they'll sleep in swimming pools, or they'll sleep under cars, or under like seats. So you got to be very careful. And if it's bigger than a bucket, there's probably a gator living in it. That's what they say. But these people, it's like, why would you live here? Why would you do that? And it's like, well, I'd rather deal with these things in a winter again. Because moving from like up north or something. I don't know. I don't go outside a whole lot anyways. Well, now I do some, now that I have this dog. So we've got ticks up here. So Lyme's disease all over the place, deer ticks everywhere. So that's a constant danger. But we don't have a lot of poisonous stuff here. Not many things at all. I think there's maybe a couple of snakes, but not much. We got bugs. Lots of. Winter is better than humidity usually, Dale. I agree. My wife absolutely hates winter. I don't mind it so much, personally. Sister Ramona says we had an alligator by our dumpster at work once. It was about 8 feet. Wow. We have dangerous creatures in the U.S. Just most walk on 2 legs. True. That was deep. Venomous, not poisonous. Oh, that makes. There you go. We don't have a lot of venomous ones either. Most of our snakes are like, the useless, the kind that eat bugs and rodents. We don't mind those snakes. I have no problem with those. But we don't have a lot of spiders that, like, we have a couple. Like, I know a guy that lost his arm to a spider bite. Like, he was bit as an infant and it kind of like rotted a little bit, but we don't have a lot of them. Johnny Randall says foo action is pretty crazy. Oh, at Henry Bemis. Comics were different magazines. BBC co-starring Carl Weathers. There we go. Yeah, that's not terrible. It's kind of weird looking. Jeez, I almost hit the erase everything. And we got to hit save. Beavis says we got a mountain lion warning a few months ago. Poor thing was probably old and starving. We don't get many of those. We get black bears up here, but usually they leave people alone, run away. They're not terribly aggressive. I suppose unless you get around our cubs. But we might have some mountain lions. We might have some possibly cougars or we got foxes, raccoons, owls. No, what's up? Welcome to the nest, NTM Comics. But it's not a terrible place for a lot. Mostly, the most dangerous thing around here, I'd probably say, believe it or not, is the deer, because they jump in the middle of the road. We might have maybe copperheads. I don't remember. No, we couldn't. Something like that, maybe. Guten Tag. No, it's just Henry Beavis. We see some foxes, mostly deer, rabbits, nothing really dangerous. Yeah, it's kind of the same here. So I mean, it's not a bad place to live if for if you fear nature. Bees though, we got like hornets and wasps and stuff like that. Not like those crazy African death bees or whatever like that, but they can give you a good stinging. Got fire ants. They hurt like a son of a gun. Stat, are you familiar with Comics Kingdom? I'm not. I don't know what Comics Kingdom is. What's that? Let me see here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna open this link. Comics Kingdom. Keep comics coming. This is. I'm telling you all about it. Let me just bring it down here for you fine folks to take a look at with me. Comics Tale. Let's see here. Some pop-ups. All right, let's see. Comics, action, classic, comedy, political, cartoons, romance, vintage. Not romance. Better not be porn. Classic. All right. Oh, we got some Barney Beetle Bailey. There we go. Oh, are these like just running the strips? Oh yeah, they're running the strips. That's cool. If you can read them. All right. Well, guys, you're seeing it here. If that's something you want to take a look at, please do. Michael DJ, welcome to this. Foxes are dangerous if you are a chicken. That's true. And we got a bunch of chickens. We have rattlesnakes here. Just saw one sunning itself in a rock a while back. My buddy shot 2 bobcats that were stalking his toddler. Holy crap. That's right. They can get that lead. Not like everywhere else you see them you never see them unless they go into a bush. Oh, no, talking amongst ourselves. Gotta get that little like dramatic tongue there. How in the world did this get to? Oh, I suppose I'm just going back in my head about how this conversation got to this. That's okay with me. It's fine. Go as long as it's engaging. But it looks like my dog's trying to headbutt his way into my office, if you can believe it. He's like, please. He's trying. I think he's trying to use the doorknob. What bears do I have? We only really have black bears, Citizen Ronan, so we're okay. K-Manifesto, I have another link that I found on the back of the new box for Wicked Dolls. You want me to post that? I think everybody knows about that link. That infamous link. The link. Oh my gosh. How do you not take a look at the link you're going to put on the back of the kids box? That's ridiculous. But yes, Citizen Ronan, just black bears mostly. Grew up in Connecticut, relatives, Bayonne and Staten Island. I feel like, yeah. So I've seen a couple black bear. They just kind of like look at you and go back into the woods. Nothing to be scared of. I've never seen a black bear attack out here. They usually just kind of meander around. Giant dog tanks, like, although you wouldn't want to go pet them. That's what I think of bears as. They're like dog tanks. If there was a fight, if there was an army, cats have lions and tigers. Dogs have bears. I'd say they're cousins. They gotta be somewhere near there. I know bears are bears and dogs are dogs, but I like to think that they're kind of like cousins. They meander and then they strike. Usually your picnic baskets. They want your food. And they'll do whatever to get. Not really. They're kind of lazy. Unless, of course, they get mad at you and you try to climb a tree like an idiot. Then they're actually not lazy. As opposed to a grizzly that will just knock the dang tree down. There's no reason to climb it. I saw a couple of grizzlies when I lived in Alaska. They love to visit the dump, the garbage dump. Just bears all over there looking for food. Dump, and then you might find them in some rivers, looking for fish. But thankfully, never met a nasty one. I was a kid at the time, so probably wouldn't have been much of a meal. I'd have just karate chopped him anyways, He would have just been gone. It would have just been like, bam. That first panel stat made me think of the Sylvester and Tweety cartoon where Tweety drinks Dr. Jekyll's potion. Oh, I remember that one. That's a good one. That's another one of those. I got box sets I really want. I like to revisit. My wife a few Christmases ago got me like the complete, not complete, but I mean like the big Looney Tunes box set that's like 6 volumes long, and each volume is like 6 discs. It's great. A bear stampede would be a sight to behold, wouldn't it? Or a bearnado. We've done Sharknado. It's about time the bears got their due. How do you see a lot of shark movies and it's become like a thing, like a what do you call it? A cultural thing. Or you see a lot of bear movies. Like silly bear movies. You got like Shark Exorcist, Ghost Shark, Santa Jaws is a really great one. Just the name and the poster's like a shark, but it's got a Santa hat on and it eats people at Christmas. There's like all kinds of really stupid, crazy shark movies. You don't see that kind of thing with a lot of other animals like bears and whatnot. Like it's weird to me, like how sharks became like the cool joke of the animal kingdom. They became like a Sharknado. Like the Oregon coast just got a tsunami warning. Apparently, there's a 7.0 earthquake offshore. Thankfully, I'm not on the coast. I heard about that. California and Oregon, like they're gearing up possibly for some to get wet. Anyone read Hunter Ninja Bear? Lots of bears in there. Yeah, there's another one called was it Shirtless Bear Fighter? I remember a few years ago. Grizzly 2 is one of the worst movies ever, with a name like that. They had that movie a few years ago. What is it? That Cocaine Bear? It promised a lot. It delivered very little. I never saw it, but I heard like all the really great parts were in the trailer, and it wasn't even that great. So I never did take a look. But yeah, I'm reminded that was supposed to be just this great time of this bear running amok while he was completely high on drugs, but I don't believe. And the actual story is not nearly as crazy. Like the plane went down, the bear got into the drugs, and I think he had a heart attack right there. He just got into it and sniffed up a bunch of coke, and then just died right there, and that would have been the movie. Needless to say, I don't think it's going to get a sequel. Then there's that one weird movie. I don't know if I ever watched it. You guys ever hear this movie with Sam Elliott? It's called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Bigfoot, or something like that. It's like takes itself seriously, but it's a ridiculous premise. I feel like I need to look that one up. There's so many unanswered questions in Grizzly. I think the first one is, what are you doing watching it? Sometimes those cheap old movies are a lot of fun, especially when you get people together. Oh, that man was Elvis. But gosh, can you believe we hit an hour and 12 of just random talking? Good time though. I had a good time. I felt like I needed to stream. Not that I needed to, but I wanted to. It was like I've been very busy, and I used to stream a lot. I don't get to stream as much anymore, but wife came home and was like, "Hey, would you mind watching the dog so he doesn't run amok and run into me and want to play with me while I'm on the stream?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." I was able to come on and say hello for a little while. It's like sitting outside the window. Can Stack come out and play? Please. No, he's grounded. Don't worry, most of the footage from Grizzly is Grizzly 2. Sounds about right. That movie probably costs like $3 to make. And then they charge you $5 to rent it, the jerks. Citizen Rona says, my streams are always relaxed. I'm glad. I feel like hopefully boring's not the word, but I mean, I could see where some people would think that. I can see it. That's okay, though. I aim for that. Because you know what boring is to me? At least in this context, it's reliable. Some people really like crazy, unexpected things to happen, like the fighting and the trolling and the like looking at articles and making fun of them. And the crazy thing is, once you get to a certain level, you got to keep on escalating to keep that audience happy. It's like a horror movie, You've seen all these ways to take somebody out, and after a while, you go like, I saw that 3 times in a couple other movies. It's not as fun. But if you're just consistently talking, conversing, I feel like in the long run, maybe not in the short run, but in the long run, it's a heck of a lot better for you and your audience. Dr. Mass says, have you seen Billy the Kid versus Dracula? I haven't. The only John Carradine I wish he hadn't made. John, that's got to be one of his later ones. No, I haven't seen that one, but it does sound like something you'd see on Tubi. Tubi's got all kinds of those movies that are probably never even saw DVD. They just went straight to streaming. But it does sound like a kind of a funny premise. If done right, that'd be kind of cool. You know what I'd really love to see? Tarzan versus Dracula. You know what I mean? The Demeter didn't go to London. It crashed on an island. He's there on the island, and he's got to kind of Tarzan's got to confront him. I would love to see that. He could bite a gorilla, and the gorilla's a vampire, and it goes after Tarzan, and he's got to have like a mask or something with like what looks like a big hummingbird needle, and he uses that like a stake. It uses all 4 of his limbs to hold the arms and legs down while he stakes the heart. Dracula can't get to the other side of the island because there's running water, and he can't actually get past that, so he's got to try to get people over to him. Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. It's all off the top of my head stuff. But you can't do that because I believe Tarzan's one of those ones that's like you got a license. I suppose you could say just like the ape guy, like make a knockoff, like Kazar or something like that, right? It's a nice comfort. The Phantom versus Dracula would be really cool. Solomon Kane versus Dracula would be pretty sweet too. Dracula is one of those things that you can do a whole lot with and still continue. And I mean, it's like, do you remember a few years ago when Lovecraft, all that stuff went public domain, so everybody was doing Lovecraft stuff. I feel like it's kind of hit a little bit of a, you don't see it as much anymore, but Dracula's still going strong. I hope that this Nosferatu movie does well, just because the last 2 or 3 Dracula movies have just tanked hard. You had Renfield, which I didn't like. You had The Voyage of the Demeter, which I bought on Blu-ray. I haven't watched it yet, but I heard it was just fine. You watch it and it's not bad, and then after it's over, you forget most of it. But it didn't do well in the theaters. It didn't do well at all. And I want to say there was another Dracula movie that just kind of like was crap. Like it just didn't do anything. And so all of these Dracula appearances and adaptations are just like sucking wind. Not blood, but wind. And it's true. We vampire fans need a win. And that's the other thing that I'm intrigued about. Jeremy John's review, he said, like, there's no romance in this. He compared the Nosferatu to Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. He said that was more of a gothic romance with some horror in it. He said this is more of a gothic horror. You get to see Dracula as evil. No like distinguishing, nothing to redeem him or anything like that. It's like he likened it to almost like a demonic possession movie, because Dracula's trying to possess the girl and he's using all of his supernatural powers to get it. So that kind of, I want to see a vampire that's irredeemable. I think we've seen enough of the good guy vampires and werewolves and stuff. We got to see the kind of like the werewolves that are genuinely the people that are sorry to be this monster, not like, oh, I'm just gonna harness it and be cool and awesome and like a power fantasy. No. We got to see more of the Larry Talbot kind of werewolves, and the vampires that are like Nosferatu, that just they do what they do. They're animals. The key to keep your expectations low and hope for the best. Isn't that how you're absolutely right. Salem's Lot was a serious evil vampire movie. I haven't seen the new one. I heard it was all right. I've seen both the old 70s miniseries, and I've seen the Rob Lowe one, which regardless of how it was, I really liked the Barlow in there. I mean, the other one was basically just Nosferatu, but I do like what's his face that was in there playing Barlow, just because he also played Dracula in the third Dracula trilogy movie, and you guys know Rutger Hauer, right? He was really good in The Hitcher. Rutger Hauer was good in most of the movies he was in, even if the movies sucked. He was really good. I have no idea how he didn't get better movies, and he just kind of got put into the sci-fi like horror typecast stuff because he was a good actor. It's just too bad he didn't get some higher profile stuff. Maybe it was his agent. Maybe that's just what he wanted to do. I don't know. So no sexy vampires or werewolves, perfect abs. We've had enough. James Woods' Dracula on SNL is one of the best sketches ever. He screens potential dates for... Sounds about right. Nighthawks. Yeah, exactly. Nighthawks. Rutger Hauer. Like, he did some... there's that one movie he did, Blind Fury. It was a ridiculous movie, but he still sold it. He still sold the movie. Where's that one where he kind of 6 seconds? No, Split Second. It was like basically he was going up against Venom. You guys ever see that? Like, I think it might be on Tubi. I want to say it's on Tubi. And the character looks like Venom. What is it? 1992? Yeah, 92. Let me show you this. Second. It's like I don't even know how you'd call it. I would say like it's like if they tried to do Venom in the 90s, you'd have the Split Second monster from Rutger Hauer. Look at this thing. This was the serial killer monster in this movie, and Rutger Hauer was like a cop, and it ate his partner's heart and sent it to him, and he's smart, and he has to go and find this thing and kill him, obviously. But it's a weird movie. It's a unique movie. I miss when movies were like this. Just odd stuff that now it seems like they're done by committee, but back in the day it was like, well, I don't know if this is going to work. Let's give it a shot. Like make it cheap, see if it works. And if it does, we got a new franchise. If it doesn't, well, it's just another movie in our catalog. You look at like Puppet Master, that's up to like Puppet Master 12 or 14. They make cheap movies. A Split Second, yeah. Saw that movie in the theater. That movie is weird. Yep, one of my favorite Rutger Hauer movies is Blood of Heroes. He's had a lot of movies that I feel like great movies that nobody's seen because maybe the cover looks really stupid. But he does a great job in almost all of them, man. He played Dracula in he played Dracula twice. He played Dracula in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he played Dracula in that third weird vampire trilogy with that, because it started with Dracula 2000, and then they did two back to back. Like, I would say they were close to Castlevania movies, right? You had Jason Scott Lee, the guy that played in like older Mowgli in Jungle Book, and he was also in the Bruce Lee story. He was like a Simon Belmont. He had a barbed whip and he was a vampire killer. And Dracula was actually, they did like a if you haven't seen it, they did like a Doctor Who. Like every time Dracula's killed, he's regenerated into somebody different. And the third incarnation was Rutger Hauer, and it was very much a Castlevania movie. If you haven't seen that, take a look at it and tell me if you agree or not. But Dr. Mass says, have you ever seen Wanted Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer, Gene Simmons as a terrorist? Yeah, I have. A long time ago. That was like one of those midnight movies, like on TBS or something. I think I saw it. But I do remember it. What's this? A movie? Yeah, that was a movie that I was just showing, that Split Second movie. But yeah, look, I think we are about, I'm going to go ahead and just save this. I think we're probably at a good spot to stop here. I'll just wind down a little bit, have an hour and a half long stream. It's about what I told my wife we'd go with. And I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I hope you're able to relax, kick back, listen to some random stuff. A little bit of comic, a little bit of movies. Next time, maybe we'll talk music. Who knows? Talk about what you're listening to. I'm listening to all kinds of stuff. But I think that I didn't even have my banner up. Can you believe it? Oh, it's embarrassment. Scandal. But, Jay Ryan, if you weren't lurking, buddy, it's good to have you at the nest. But I'm about done with the stream. And I'm going to going on with my no banner restart. I should. But I'll be back again with another stream sometime, a random time, with the new banner. But yes, I think it's about time for me to duck out, before I wear out my welcome, because Lord knows I don't want to do that. And wish you guys a wonderful rest of your nights. Sumo Tori, welcome to the nest. I'm so sorry you came in at the end. Abs, always be streaming. That's like some life advice right there, Jay Ryan. Thank you. I'm going to take that off stream, and I'm going to ponder it. Well, okay, anyways, thank you very much for showing up. Good night. I'll see you when I see you next. God bless you.